Okay, so today I'm going down the interstate. It's a great time to kind of talk about a few different things. I wanted to talk about why we decided to internalize all of our manufacturing. For those who don't know, at Evolution Wheel, we actually make 100% of our products under our own roof, and so what that means is we bring in raw steel sheets. We cut them, we roll them, we fabricate them, we machine them, we weld them, we powder coat them. So we do 100% of our own metal fab. And on the rubber side, we bring in raw rubber ingredients. We mix our own rubber. We don't get somebody else to do it. We've developed our own rubber compound recipes. We inject our own rubber, and then to make the molds. We also make our own molds, and then we do final assembly. So we literally make 100% of our products, and we don't outsource anything. We used to, and the reason why we did that, when I started Evolution Wheel, we were an outsourced manufacturer. And basically, we outsourced to local manufacturers. I never believed in or wanted to be a manufacturer or a company that had our product made overseas. And reason for that is that I just believe in local manufacturing, creating jobs locally, supporting local companies, local people, and being able to tell that story. And the choice to go from an outsourced manufacturer to an insourced manufacturer happened after about 5 years of the company being in existence. The problem is that our main issue was that our rubber, the company that did our rubber processing and made our rubber parts, we kept hitting our head on growth because of them. And it just got to the point where we couldn't supply our customers. We couldn't grow anymore. And then what became even worse was when COVID hit. Basically, we had a huge order book, and COVID hit, and they just said that they're shutting down. They're not going to work. They're not even going to produce parts for us, which was a massive, massive risk to the business. And there was other risks lurking that we hadn't really seen or thought of yet, but that was the main one. And so at that moment, we had already been kind of struggling with capacity, and outsourcing wasn't great, wasn't super fun. So we said, okay, we gotta do this ourselves. And at the time, I had no control. I had no control to get them back working, other than to threaten, pulling all of our stuff and finding somebody else, which easy to say in the time, but in reality, it's a bluff, because there's no way that you're gonna be able to do that and still keep your order book. So it was a crazy time when COVID first hit, and obviously that's a whole other story. But we started working on it then, and decided that we were going to internalize our rubber processing, which is basically the molding of our parts. And it's an expensive project. Those are expensive machines. We had to find space to do that. I had to put the right people in place. A whole ton of things had to go right. And this was all during COVID, and a whole bunch of things went wrong. But when we did that, we really started to kind of release the the chains of growth because we could be in charge of our own, growth destiny. So we started with rubber injection, which is molding our parts. And it was kind of like all those other things I talked about that we didn't really know started to happen, like other vendors, all of a sudden they heard that we were doing this. And then it was like, well, here's our opportunity to charge them more. I don't really know how that happened, but literally every single vendor did that to us. And the other thing was that at the time, we literally got our rubber machines delivered. And at the time that we were about to fire them on, or we had just fired them on to go, our rubber processor came to us and they wanted to triple the price of processing, which would have basically meant that we were out of business. Like it was going to, it would have wiped us out. So it took us a year to get those machines. And so from the time of COVID starting to getting set up, to getting those machines in, the stars had to align because literally they came to us right as we were about to turn them on and said, yeah, we want to triple our price. And I just said, well, that's fine. Send us all of our stuff back. And they weren't prepared for that. And, and so we pulled all of our stuff and they thought they had us in a pinch, and we just happened to have all of our own machines. So that was one very fortunate thing that happened in a long list of fortunate things and sequences. And because, like I was saying earlier, a lot of our processors, the people that were working for us, started to, increase pricing and all that kind of stuff. And we would have just been dead in the water. But once we started with rubber injection, then really all the dominoes kind of they started falling, metal fab became more expensive. And then, powder coating was all of a sudden more expensive. And I think what happens, and you kind of have to watch out for this if you ever go through this, but what kind of happens is people start to see you doing things. And then I think that in their minds, they see it as an opportunity for them to make either they think that they can make more money because now you have more gross margin to deal with potentially. So they can charge you more for their process, or they see the writing on the wall that maybe you're going to, just do the process that they're doing and cut them out. So they want to make as much money as possible until that happens. So I don't know what the psyche of some of these people are, but for us, that's how it happened. It just one thing after another. So, like I said, we started doing rubber injection, then it became welding. We started welding our own rims. Then it became machining was the next problem, and getting our hub plates machined. And then it became like powder coating. And then it became just everything, rubber mixing. And so one by one, we were getting forced to do this. And so from the time we started and moved into our manufacturing facility to the time we had 100% of our manufacturing processes insourced, it was 18 months. So 18 months, we went from 100% outsourced manufacturer to 100% in-source manufacturer. And anybody who has gone through manufacturing and setting up a plant and doing all that, I think you'll understand and appreciate that was a very, very stressful time. Long hours, weekends, you name it. I think I worked 7 days a week. Mark from my team, he was working insane hours as well. And really the only way we could have done it was we had a few key people who were committed to making it happen. We burnt through a lot of people doing it just by nature of change. A lot of people can't really handle that kind of change in that short amount of time. But we had no choice. We had to do it. And yeah, looking back on it now, I appreciate that we are doing that, and that is the type of company we are. But yeah, it was an absolute crazy, crazy time. I was at a trade show. I think it was World of Concrete in 2023, and a guy came by from I think he worked for Continental, and had a lot of experience in the tire business and industry, and kind of just stopped by. We had a basic chat, and says, like, where are you making, like, what part of China are you making the rubber in, or what part of, and I don't know what the comment was, and he wasn't trying to be mean. He was just trying to strike up a conversation. And I said, no, like, we make it all ourselves. And he says, what do you mean? Like, I said, we mix our own rubber. We mold our own rubber. We rims, you name it, everything. And he kind of just stopped and looked at me, and he went, are you freaking crazy? Like, you're insane. He says, nobody does this. Nobody does this. And I'm like, I know. I know nobody does it. But we wanted to, and we felt it was important to make our product here 100% North American made, and for quality and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, he couldn't believe it. So it's an interesting. I'm proud that we can do it, and I'm proud that we are one of the only ones. Maybe we're not the only one, but we're one of the only ones who can do it. But to make our product 100% in our own facility, at least for a tire. But the things that it's opened up for us in terms of quality, and in terms of technology and developing all that stuff, rather than, saying I have an idea and then going to, getting it designed and engineered, and then sending it off to somewhere, getting a mold designed and made, and then getting the prototypes made, and then, at the next company, and then all that kind of stuff, getting it back, going, oh, it's not quite right, we got to tweak it, getting those tweaks done, and going back and forth and all that process. Like a prototype used to take, to get a new tire, or a new tread, or a new something like that, used to take months, or like 6 months, a year. Like, it was a long process. We would do one new product a year kind of thing for the first 5 years that we were developing, because it just took so long and it was so expensive to get through that process. And now, currently today, we're doing 3 R&D projects simultaneously, because we build everything ourselves. We make engineering is in-house, our products design in-house, our molds are designed in-house, our molds are made in-house. And so the time from concept and idea to execution and prototype and testing is so much faster. Like, we can almost, if I had an idea today, I want to try something brand new, it'd be like a month for design and engineering, a month for mold fabrication, and call it another month for making the first prototypes and getting all that through manufacturing. Like, in 3 months, we can go from brand new concept to prototype, fully finished functional prototype, ready for testing. And that really gave us a lot of capability and a lot of competitive edge. So, and of course, when you talk about the pride factor, I think is something that I overlook a lot, where you've got, I think right now we've got maybe like almost 50 people on payroll, and that's like 50 mortgages, 50 car payments, rent payments, whatever that may be, families that are getting fed. But when, like, every day from my office, I can see all those people, not through a window, but I mean, like, walk through the plant, and I can talk to each one of them, ask them how it's going, what's going on. If a problem comes up, we can deal with it. If a customer's in need or something needs to happen, we can we can handle that. But we can deal with all those things immediately. We could support all those families immediately, and it's just like the byproduct that you don't think of when you start. But if you're outsourcing and you're building, you don't build your own product. You don't have any kind of vested interest. You have a design that you made, and then somebody in another country on the other side of the world is making it because it's cheaper. Well, you lose all of that connection to your products and all of that, like, synergy that you get from a team. And that team comes together, and, like, eventually they all end up sort of driving of the vision of what you want, and if that's quality or if that's performance or whatever. And for us, it comes down to quality. It comes down to making sure that our customer has the best quality product. And so everybody gets aligned on that. And it doesn't matter whether you're making a new product or you're making an existing product, everybody gets excited about it, and it really helps push those things. So for me, I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade making it ourselves and doing everything to outsourcing it. Looking at the numbers, our labor is way higher. Our labor is not competitive to outsource manufacturing overseas. But to get around that, we've put in automation, we've put in robotics, and fortunate to have enough smart people on my team to be able to overcome some of those issues. But yeah, that's my 2 cents for the day on some of the benefits of doing it yourself, and being able to really see the quality, because from my desk, I can walk out onto the shop floor and look at the quality that is being produced on the shop floor and the final product that's going to a customer. Whereas you can't do that if somebody else is making it who you can't go walk and talk to and see. And so that's just something that I put a lot of value in. Maybe ISO and all these other things that all these major companies talk about, and say, like, I think that's all halfway just used as branding to say, like, well, our processes and procedures are so good that we can outsource it to somebody we don't have to look at because they have to follow our process procedure. But the thing you can't control is, if the person making your product is having a bad day, and maybe they don't care so much about if they got that process correct, or maybe they don't, like, you're mixing rubber and they don't care if the weight or the amount of an ingredient that they're putting in is perfect, or they're welding something, and it's like, I think you can get good enough in a lot of situations like that, because you don't have to have there's no accountability for me to go and talk to them and say, why, how come this happened, or why did this happen, or how come we're not doing this, or why aren't we improving? And so I think a lot of that quality, the degradation in quality that you see, has gone kind of out the window because of things like that. And yeah, so it's kind of my 2 cents for the day. Stay tuned for more.